Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Okay, Dick, we're gonna start, huh? Anybody have any problem with the waiving the reading of the announcement of the open meeting recordings?
No.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All that is the fact that we're having an open meeting.
I agree. I've no problem.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mike, I'm
Yes,
sorry to interrupt. Can you guys just let me know
Yes,
who's making
yes.
the motions, because I can't tell.
yes, okay. Dick Williams made the motion.
Okay.
Van Reet seconded it, and it was unanimous.
We gotta do a roll call.
Thank you.
Roll call. When we do roll calls, let's just start with you, Fran, and go this way so no one.
Fran Steiner.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Jim Susi, aye.
Van Reet, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Got that,
What do we?
Tamika?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, now let's just take things out of order here because I messed up making the order. Tamika, as you can see, is with us, and she has very generously offered her time to be our recording secretary. So normally I would have just said, yes, you're our recording secretary, but given that we have two new members and they're not all that familiar with the way we, kind of do things, I thought it might be appropriate just to do it in this setting. So is there a motion to make Tamika our recording secretary?
I'll make a motion to have Tamika be our recording secretary.
Van Reet, motion.
Dick Williams, second.
Roll call.
Steiner, aye.
Susi, aye.
Van Reet, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye. Williams, aye.
Okay, got that, Tamika? Okay.
I got it. Thank you.
All right.
So
And
now
Tamika, just an FYI to you, we try to run a fairly loose ship. We don't, unless things get out of hand, we don't necessarily stick strictly to Robert's rules. It's kind of, if you got something to say it, be polite, don't step over anybody. So if at any time you can't decipher what's going on, just give a holler and we'll stop and figure it out, okay?
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Mike.
And as far as, I don't need to tell you how to take minutes. We don't need a Bible. We need, a highlight of the importance items. And if something is specifically, if a member has something that they specifically want to make sure gets in the minutes, they'll just say, hey, Tamika, would you make sure that's in there?
Yes.
Otherwise, your discretion.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And thank you for doing what you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to do it.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, open meeting potential violations / conflict of interest potential issues. I put this on here for a reason. There's been a couple of times over the last month or so where there has been suggestions that I've violated or come close to violating the open meeting laws. I just want you to know that I checked with the Attorney General on the specific instance as I understood it. They have told me that I was not in violation, that I had not violated the open meeting laws. So I just want to put that on the table, and I want to, if anybody on the committee disagrees or has any problems with what I've done, please speak up and let's air it out right now and figure out how it doesn't happen again. Anybody?
Not really sure what you did, so I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
Okay, I won't. It's not worth getting into the specifics. It's I have handled it, which is my responsibility to do in that regard. Now, the same thing applies to conflict of interest. Have you, Jim and Franz, have you gotten from Anita yet the conflict of interest? It's kind of like a training session.
No.
No.
All right. Well, I would strongly suggest you seek her out for that. It's something every board member, elected, appointed, or otherwise has to take, where it explains to you, what the state regulations are, and in the end, it gives you a test that you actually have to take it to serve. So I would suggest you do it sooner than later because, and It's a matter of her giving you the site, you going online, taking the test. In the end, if you're a good boy and you pass, you get a certificate or something that you then send to Anita, and I would strongly suggest you both do that. Okay, those two things out of the way. Dang it, I forgot to bring it with me. We have an honest-to-God submission now for a concept plan from Soul Systems. I left it on my desk. It's a notebook that's probably 75 to 100 pages, and it's a requirement of the zoning for the HPDD that they submit, much like, Jim, you'd know this. Yeah, well, probably most of us would know that. You must submit a concept plan, then you submit a definitive plan. It's not really called those things. So they have submitted that to the town clerk with copies to all board members. I gave it to the town clerk. She distributed it. I've talked to Chris Senecal, let him know that it's there because there are some timelines that, you know, we have to kind of pay attention to. So Chris is involved, and I attempted, and I didn't succeed, and honestly I forgot about it. I'm going to attempt to get an electronic copy of it sent to me, which
Mike, I have an electronic copy I can send to you.
okay, this is Tamika talking?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, turn around, fair play, Tamika. Well, you know, Tamika, that's enough. Yes, okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Here's a question I have for you.
Sure.
There are times when I would like to share information with the board before a meeting, but I get concerned about the very thing we just talked about, the open meeting laws and the perception that I'm distributing, even though we're not, you know, we're not discussing or. So what I'd like to do, if you're in agreement, is if I have something I'd like distributed, I'd like to send it to you and ask you to distribute it to the board. That way, no one can come back and say, "Hey, Mike, you know, you were having a quasi meeting by sending that around." Would you be agreeable to that?
Absolutely. We can either, you know, different boards do it different ways. Some boards don't mind doing the email. Some boards prefer to have a Google Drive set up where they can just access all of the documents ahead of the meeting. I don't think that distributing it, as long as you don't discuss it, does not count as an open meeting violation, because that's how pretty much all the boards do it.
Yep.
So it's up to you guys if you want me to strictly distribute via email, or if you want me to set up a Google Drive. I can do either way.
Well, I'm looking around at the room, and there's, including me, kind of a blank stare when you start talking about Google Drive.
Email.
So,
Like the Google Drive.
Sure, we can do email. That's fine.
okay, so if I send you, okay, fine. That's what I will do. So, in the answer to your statement of you have an electronic copy, perfect.
Yep.
Could you distribute it to all members of the board, please?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Yes.
Also, the HPDD board, did they get a copy of that also?
Yes. Could you also, Tamika, send it to the HPDD review board, which you may have to do a little bit of hunting to get that membership, but I can help you with that. Or Anita has a list of those people.
Yes. Yep. I can track that info down.
They're kind of the quasi ZBA of the HPDD site. So
Sure. I'll be in the office tomorrow, so I'll pop over to Anita and I'll get those names and send those out too.
okay, perfect. If you have any questions, and Chris Senecal is the chairman of that. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll.
Oh, sure. Yep. I have his contact info from the ZBA, so that's good to know.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anybody questions? Comments?
Yes, I have quite a few through the board. This is a solar project that's been talked about on this board before.
Yeah, let me just stop you right there, Frank. It's a solar project that we've had discussions on, gone out to bid on. and we actually have a signed contract with a solar company to build the project.
Okay, that's all fine and good. Has anyone ever looked into the issues with solar? Not solar per se, but the problem solar having right now with hookups with National Grid and the issues and the expense with that?
Yes.
And
That's why the contract has not been consummated, because, well, let me just back up a little bit. The town has a solar consultant
I know, I'm aware of that. Okay.
who is fabulous.
Yeah.
And she is working with, the name of the company is Sol Systems, on our behalf.
Right.
So yes, they are in the middle of all that negotiation with National Grid right now.
All right.
And where it's going to go,
Okay,
God only
all
knows.
right, my question to that is because there are existing projects here locally that have stopped because of, not because of solar's bad
Yep.
or inefficient, all that, but because of National Grid is
Yep.
overloaded, they're not taking any more, and the hookup cost is so expensive, I mean, millions of dollars, it's just put everything on hold. So that, I mean, that's why I was just saying, if you know, okay, so that's an issue with me.
Well, let me just help you understand a little further. Don't hold me to exact numbers, but for Sol Systems to have their preliminary evaluation with National Grid, they had to come up with, from memory, it was like $30-something thousand. They had to pay National Grid for them to do it. They came back and said, hey, because of the reasons you just said, we're not sure that the Treasure Valley substation, which was where it was intended to go,
Right.
has the capacity to be able to handle that and
And-
everything else.
And that's been a problem with,
Okay,
right,
just let me finish.
yeah,
So, and National Grid said, and furthermore, if you want us to continue this study to determine whether, what the viability of the project is and where it's going to end up, you're going to have to come up with another $66,000.
Yeah.
Now, that's for both the town solar projects, the one on Wheeler Road and the one at the Heights. So it's really $33,000. Again, rough numbers. And I figured at that point, this is dead. They're never going to do it. Well, they did. They came up with the additional $66,000 to continue the evaluation. So I understand and share all your concerns there, but they're saying we still want to, at this point, go ahead.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
my guess is they're calling Grid's bluff. Prove to me that you can't take the load.
Well, I think it's twofold. They're calling the Grid's bluff, but they're also calling all of these other solar projects bluff. You know, the people who say they're going to build solar, when they go to them and say, hey, it's going to cost you another $66,000, are they going to come up with the money, or are they going to bail out and maybe it ends up back in Treasure Valley? Nobody knows that right now.
Because I remember the process through the planning board. It's literally you got to get a slot
Yes.
in the grid to be able to get that study done and be able to put that in service. And if you give up like they might have done, that slot goes away and the next guy goes in.
That's right, and that's what Sol Systems did not want to happen. They didn't want to lose their slot. And the other thing, Franz, just point of information, the Heights, the HPDD, that's what it's called, Heights Plan Development.
well, I know what, I was there when, remember, Mike, you and I were.
Yeah, okay, but the HPDD district is considered a brownfield, which gives it additional incentives from a cost standpoint. So whatever that means.
Through the question.
We don't have to go.
No, well, just being polite, but any time period or guesstimate that they given you as far as,
Not since they just within the last month decided to come up with this additional money. They met with their stockholders, if you will, said, hey, this is what's going on. This is how much more money we're going to come up with. Are you guys still in? And I'm calling them stockholders. The financial backers said, yeah, we're still in. So I don't know that right now.
okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you have a hand up from Mr. City.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry, Mitch. I didn't know you were down there. Go right ahead.
You
Mitch.
can't hear him.
You're on mute, Mitch.
Okay, there. Sorry. Yeah, I can hear Mike. I can hear you clearly, and Fran, I can hear you clearly. But I think when Tim and Dave are talking, and I'm sorry, I'm listening in because what you're working with is pretty interesting. It's just hard to hear Dave and Tim, so I don't know if they're at the microphones or not, but you really can't hear anything that's being said outside.
Are you saying Dick and Tim?
Oh, is that Dick? Okay, see, I'm sorry, I can't. Whoever else is speaking, I think I heard Tim in there, and maybe it was Dick. I thought it might have been Dave, but it's hard to hear everybody except for you and Fran and Tamika.
Okay. Well, we've been known to have big mouths. So.
Yeah. We used to argue a lot.
Yeah, so just
thanks, guys.
I
Appreciate it.
turned it on.
keep your microphones close if you can.
I turned it on. I had it off.
Oh, okay. Okay, so any other, Franz, you said you had a bunch of questions?
No, that was, I gave you a bunch of questions, because I know there are existing, actually large, solar all ready to go, but the hookup, it went through the roof. And what I was told was because, National Grid, there's no more on the, lines. They're selling to Canada, and then at night or low periods, Canada's selling back, but basically saying that they're chock full, and now it's the hookup that's the issue, not technology. That's why I'm saying with this, it might be just a dead.
Well, it may
It could
well
be, okay.
But they just come up with an additional.
I understand. No,
$56,000.
that was my concern. Like, why are we even chasing this
We
now?
already
But
have a contract with them, right?
They do.
So that's-
Yeah, I mean, it's
fulfill the
not
contract.
costing us anything for them to do. What
that
they're
was my
doing
next.
now.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the grid, they're going to take their time on this
Oh,
study.
yeah.
They're notorious for that, at least through the planning board, and we've had to deal with them. They just drag their feet.
And in fact, when they submitted their concept plan, they had to submit $2,500, big deal, but they did. And now when the definitive plan, I don't think that's exactly what it's called, but it might be. I think they could have come up with another $5,000 or $10,000. So I'm sure they're going to do that too. So they're in the business and they're spending the money. So I say we hang on and go for the ride and see what happens. I mean, the bottom line, Franz, is the piece of property we're talking about is useless for anything else. Absolutely useless.
Well, that was my next question on zone A, B, the zones, where this is.
This is go up to the top of the hill. It's down the backside on the cliff. So nothing could ever be built there.
Okay, then that's fine.
I shouldn't say.
No, I know exactly.
Realistically.
But as long as the town is generating income, that's my concern.
And it's in an area where aesthetically you're really hardly going to be able to see it from Maple Ave.
That's
Jim, I mean, you know that area very well. I mean, it's from the
Drops off.
old dump over to almost to the school property. But over the hill, the road circles, it's below
Down
the
over that
road.
cliff there. It's
So-
a perfect spot for it.
I'm sorry?
Perfect spot for it.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else, Franz?
no, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Status of minutes from previous meetings, and that's more kind of an old committee question. We've had a few meetings that I haven't seen minutes, and I don't even know who took the minutes. I think it was between you and Dick, and all I'm asking is, I mean, by law we have to provide minutes. So if whoever took them, I know you just sent me. Sorry, I didn't mean to
I
point.
typed up the ones for Dick, but I pretty much refused to take minutes for a while now, so I don't think.
Okay,
I don't
well,
think I have any, but I can look.
okay. If you both just look, see if you have any old minutes. If you do, whatever we got to do to get them printed and accepted, let's do that.
Okay.
And maybe you don't have any, Dick. I don't know. I
Yeah.
didn't go back and look at meetings, so.
Yeah.
I mentioned I would do it and I forgot, so I did get these done.
Yes, and I just got them today, and I didn't have a chance to make copies, so I'll bring them to our next meeting. Or you know what? Could you send a copy of them to Tamika, and Tamika can distribute them?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking to Michelle,
I think I sent
Tamika,
them to everybody,
including Tamika.
except for Tamika, but I sent them to everybody on this.
Oh, okay.
I think everybody got them.
Yep.
Did you? If I give you mine, do you want to go over them now?
Oh no, yeah, I have them. No, I have them. All I gotta do is find out what I
Chris,
do.
did you get them, Jim?
The
minutes, I did two separate ones, one for the open meeting and one for the executive session.
Yes, I have them.
You have executive?
I don't have the executive.
No.
I have the regular
Do you
one.
have executive? Thank you.
It's just, it's kind of easy when we haven't had a secretary to lose track of these things, and once you do, it's difficult to get them back, so.
You're welcome.
So, okay, that being the case, let's take a look at, and has anybody had a chance to look at, the, open meeting portion of it, which is,
The longer one.
yep, the longer one, the meeting opened at 5:02, well, I guess they both did.
Mike, what date was that for?
8:05, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
Tamika.
No, that's okay.
Could you
I
send,
think I can do it now.
okay, we're gonna send you a copy, Tamika, or both.
Okay,
So-
that's fine.
We actually could review these and approve them.
Well, that's what I'm saying, let's do it right now, because they're shorter.
Mike, just something that I recently learned. The minutes from the executive session can only be approved in executive session.
Yes, yes. true.
Okay, I wasn't
I'm
sure.
with
if you did that.
Thank,
Okay.
no, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, that's no problem. If Michelle wants to send them to me, and if they get approved tonight, I'll get them sent to the clerk's office to get them posted.
Okay, thank you.
Just ask. We can't do it now.
Oh, the executive session, we
Tamika
don't-
and Chief,
Okay, you
Do-
heard me.
do
You got ears
the-
like God love you.
if the minutes are accepted, do they not stay confidential until after the meeting closes?
You
I'm
have to vote. Do you mean the executive session ones? You have to vote to release those, but they don't get posted on the website. They just get kept in the town's clerk's office, but the ones from the public meetings would get posted once approved.
What I'm asking is the executive session meeting was continued until tonight. So if we accept these minutes, the executive session minutes tonight, do they get publicly posted, or I think that,
Mike's raising his hand. He can accurately answer that.
hey, hi, stranger.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good.
Good. So how that works is even if you can approve those minutes tonight. Those are the minutes of that session. Even though that executive session discussion was continued, you can approve that then. However, after you approve those in executive session, you also have to vote to release those minutes. So you can approve them, and they're still considered privileged and confidential until you vote to release them at a later date.
Okay, perfect. And both, speak up. I'm not really looking over there. You don't have to raise your hand. Just
You got it. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, does anybody have any comments on the open portion section?
Just,
Still
third bullet.
name wrong, and I'll correct his name.
Okay, that's it. That's all. Everything is spelled everywhere else. I just want to make sure that's right.
In the third bullet,
Fourth bullet.
or up at the top? Oh, did I spell it wrong there?
Yeah, just drop the R after the A, and you're good.
All right.
I don't want to be taken as a non-German.
I don't, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I see a second. Oh, what did I do that for? Okay. Yeah, so I have Nick Monaco as Nick Monaco up at the top too. So spelling here and spelling there. Any others?
No,
No, everything else looks good.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to accept these?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of August 5th.
Second? Is there?
I second it.
Any discussion? So with those corrections, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Steiner, aye.
unanimous.
Steiner, aye.
Susie, aye.
Dan Reed, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, I think we should accept these executive session minutes, because if we don't, we're gonna just lose track of them. Accept them, but don't release them.
Well, we got to accept the executive session.
I agree, I
Yep,
agree.
okay. I think we should too.
I have a questions, but I won't ask it. I know you've but I want to know later date, if we win or whatever, go to executive session, what will or won't be put down. Do you know?
We're gonna do that later in this meeting.
I know that. Oh, okay. All right, I understand.
Okay, next item, annual report. That's just a heads up. all of the boards get requested to provide an annual report, it's just kind of a status report of the board. I did one, sent it to, I don't know if it was Tamika or, no, it was Laura, I think. So that's done, and I probably should share that with everybody. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's, so I just want you to know that I did that, and I'll send a copy to Tamika and ask her to distribute it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, 61A application discussions removal. I put that on there because we've been requested by the select board to attend their next meeting as a board to discuss a 61A properties, 3 lots that the applicant wants to take out of 61A, and we've been asked to participate in that discussion. So the select board has a meeting on Monday night at 6 o'clock. Is that true, Mitch?
Yes, it's at 6.
Oh, sorry, Tamika. That's what I should have asked Tamika. So I would encourage everyone who can attend so that we, have a good showing there to do that.
I have questions.
Sure, go right ahead.
On this, because I know the select board meets here, instead of going online into Zoom and whatever, it has to be. Has to be.
Is that still true that there's no in-person at the selectmen's meeting, even if we're a board having a shared meeting?
So the scoop is that some board members do go in person and some are still joining remotely. However, Zoom has to happen because the public cannot attend.
Right. No, I understand the public can't attend, but because we are having a joint meeting. Oh, I see Mike just jumped in.
Yeah, Mike has something to say.
Well, you understand my question, Mike. Whether.
Oh, yeah. The condition thing is people can go in person so long as they are able to be spread out 6 feet from each other. So a lot of it just comes from spatial requirements. So because we'd have to make sure everyone who's in attendance is exactly 6 feet apart from each other.
Okay. So how many select board members attend in person? Typically.
2 traditionally.
It varies. Usually Skip is always there in person.
Last time we had people in the room.
Yeah, I'd say probably not more than 2. And then I guess it would just depend on Nick if he's going to join as well in person.
Planning board's moving too.
I'm sorry.
Planning boards.
Peter Crane has a comment here. What did you say, Peter?
I said last time there were 5 people for the last select board meeting. 3 select board members.
And then Nick and I.
Town Administrator Monaco, and in fact, Mike Nicholson was there as well.
All right.
Now, this room can hold 12 people.
Okay.
Period.
That was my question.
I figured that's the real bottom line.
Yeah, I understand the regular. I just wanted to know what this room. So my point is, as I think Mike was saying, if considered we're all as a meeting. It's not just the select board and individual. It's we're what's the word? A larger meeting.
Yeah, we're having a joint meeting.
Thank you, and that's all what we could fit. All right.
Well, we can attend remotely, but we still have to post it if more than a 4.
It is posted already. It's already posted.
Right, but we can attend it remotely.
Right.
I knew that. No, I'm just saying if there's room here and there's not, if we could attend here, that's all. That was my point.
I would think it would be good if we can to at least have a representative present.
Be fine. Good.
Okay. Thank you. So that's Monday at 6, correct, Tamika?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Excuse me, I have another question. Sorry. This 61A application, is this what I think it is? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, it's no secret.
No, I know. Oh, no, I know it's not. I just wanted to double check if there's something
There's
new.
3 lots on Prescott Street.
Yeah,
Right.
about an acre and a half each.
Yes.
I guess so.
I got it.
How do we tie into that?
Well, I think probably, and I'm not going to speak for Mitch, but at the last selectmen's meeting, there was discussion about certain boards who perhaps I don't know whether they should have, but anyway, we're not asked to respond to the 61A application. We, being the RDIC, have always, in all the years I've been on it, been asked to
Yes.
give an opinion on every 61A.
Yes.
Even though it is not required by the law, we have been asked to do it. So I just pointed out to the chairman that, hey, just because you're kind of reviewing who should go to these meetings, just so you know, we have always come to those, or at least passed judgment on those. So I think that's why we're being asked.
Do we want to discuss what we want to do as a board right now before that meeting?
Well, I think we need to hear the quote unquote, yeah, the evidence. I don't know, evidence isn't the right word, but hear what it's all about before we can pass judgment, right?
Mike, would you like me to send that information to the board as well so they can review it, the application packet?
Sure.
Okay,
Yes, please. Yes, please.
sure.
Does anyone disagree that we should see that before we?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think we should vote on something when we
Don't know.
don't know what we're talking about.
You've got 2 members who've already voted on it, so. So that's why I was gonna say, Dick and I have already voted on this from the planning board's perspective.
Okay,
So-
that's,
And we've seen the packet, so everybody else needs to see the packet and then make a
does
decision.
everybody agree with that? We should see the packet before we vote.
That's fine. Yes.
All right, thank you, Tamika.
No problem.
Okay, the next item, item 8, while we're at the selectmen's meeting, you'll remember that at our last meeting, I had a discussion with the chairman about our membership, and the reorganization of it. And, he indicated that we should have a meeting and discuss whether we want to discuss this with the selectmen or not. So that's why it's here. So I guess I'm pointing out that I believe we should be going to the select board and discussing the process and our membership. And that's my intention to do that as part of the selectmen's meeting. Anybody have any problem with that?
I have no problem. I like that idea.
Anybody? No problems? So why don't we take a roll call vote on that?
Explain it again, that what you want to do?
I want to go in front of the selectmen and discuss the changing of our membership from 5 to 6 people and the way the people were appointed. And by the way, I should have prefaced this all by saying, I have no problem with 1, 2, 3. You guys as individuals, I have no problem with you, being appointed to the board as, personally. But I have a problem with the process by which it was done. So that's number one. And the fact that it's now a 6-member board, to me is just ridiculous. I mean, I've never heard of a public board or any voting board being an even number. And I have maintained that with the Board of Selectmen and was advised that we should discuss that. And so I guess that's a 2-part question. Anybody disagree that it should be a 7-member board?
I agree. It should be.
I agree.
I would like to see it more, but
An odd number.
when you say it that way, fine.
Okay, so all in favor of, let's go with a 7-member board for the moment.
Well, let me ask you, why are we limited to 7?
Well, Franz, we had this discussion and, you old folks can back me up on this. I think it was in 2018, maybe 19, but 18 for sure, with the previous select board. And they wanted to increase our board size. And we sat down with them in a joint meeting and discussed that and came to the conclusion that the more people you have, the more difficult it is to come to agreement and conclusion on anything. Let's just pick a number, Franz. You want 13 people, let's say. Well, if it's 13 people and we're going to discuss 61A and every one of us takes 5 minutes, well, there's over an hour to discuss one subject. You'll never get anything done. I mean, it just is unwieldy. I can point to the select board as doing the same thing. They were a 3-member board, and there was suggestion that should be a 7-member board, and they agreed that, in the middle, that a 5-member board was appropriate. So for that reason, I don't think it should be more than 7.
I think it was also the fact that we were having trouble getting.
Well, that was by far the biggest
Like,
problem.
it took us a while to get Karen on.
Yep.
It was open a while when I came on, it was a while for when.
For
Karen
10
came on.
years, easily, more than that, 15 years, we had trouble keeping a 5-member board. And some of the reasons supposedly were that was because we were meeting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we did that, you know, to do it before teachers went to school and so on and so forth. So we said, okay, fine, we'll change our meetings till whatever it was, 6 o'clock at night. We still couldn't get anybody to serve on the board. So, you know, to me, if people are, my personal opinion is if someone's going to serve on a board, it should be because they're interested and they make an effort to serve on the board, not because someone goes out and seeks them and says, hey, there's an opening, will you go serve? You know, I think it should be Mike's interested, he's expressed an interest, maybe he's come to some meetings, you know, he's shown an interest in the process. It's my personal opinion.
Well, what I have and why I'm here and where I haven't been here 10 years ago or 15 years ago, Dick will remember. I don't expect Michelle or Tim to know this, but Mike and I never agreed upon anything. When Mike was,
I wouldn't go that far.
well, yeah, we did, and same with Doug Briggs. But when Mike came on the planning board back in the 90s and became the chairman of the planning board, between the sign by law, the design review board, the no growth, the RBA developed because of that. And it wasn't just strictly Mike. Doug Briggs had a big part of it because he was a selectman then. And I never liked this. I never thought that Rutland Heights would be a success. I would publicly state the way it was written that 20 years down the road, nothing would ever be built, nothing would ever be done, and it would be a white elephant. That was just the way I felt. Now, Mike knows this, Dick knows this, but I'm not the kind of person that just criticizes for the sake of criticizing. Because I did an awful lot for the town and did things that nobody's ever done as far as building and doing things for the taxpayer. My concern with this is it's been 23 years or even longer, and the taxpayer and the amount of money that's been spent on this, that my goal or what I want to do and see here is to get this moving so that it's generating income. And it's not to criticize Mike, because I'll also say this about Mike and Dick. This is a compliment. This isn't an opinion. With all the fighting we've had politically over the 90s and into the 2000s, when I went for my design major home occupancy permit, you remember that, you both, well, the board was polite, cordial, professional, and gave me no grief. And I never forgot that. You could have made it a nightmare, and you never did. Especially with all the, when I say fighting, the political, I was opposed to you. The RBA, the Rutland Business Association, was brought together because of the direction of the town. And Mike was a big part of that. So wasn't Doug Briggs. So wasn't Attorney Cox. So wasn't Lisa Barthelson and a whole group of others.
Franz, you're kind of getting off point.
No, my point is that this was, I'm not getting off point. The point is the Rutland Heights Hospital I was always against, because I always thought that 20 years after, 30 years after, it would never be developed. Just the way it was written, the master plan, because Tommy Dufo and you, especially Tommy Dufo, came to the shop and says, why aren't you for this? This is a business. We're going to generate income. This is going to be a cash cow for the town. And I said, no, no way. My argument to what Mike wanted and the board wanted, and Dickie was the only one that thought it was a good idea. We lost opportunity on 68. 68 should have been developed and still can be. I always thought Rutland Heights, the town would spend a fortune and buy it back from the state. And the way this was written, it's not business friendly. So now you say, why am I back here now when, you know, years ago and I got away from town politics? I'm back because I went to get a sign permit. And I went in and the town planner says to me, you can't do that. It's now, and this is what I hate, Village Center. We're gonna do Village Center. And you know what that sign permit was that I was going for? It was for Chucky Patterson for the First Congregational Church. I went to Will, the building inspector. I says, here we go again. We're starting this all over. Now, the other issue, when I went to get the sign permit, I couldn't get my application and through that cloud. And it was taken off, and it's still not on now. And I know Tim, and I know you. I came with the selectmen, and because I told Chucky, here we go, Chuck, we're going back again. Now you remember through the no growth way back in the '90s, Chucky Patterson spoke against the no growth. All right. Now,
Raj,
Chuck,
Raj, can I just interrupt?
but my point is,
Okay,
what
that's
I'm
what I wanna
concerned with these numbers, my goal being on this is to get business, to get this going now. This has been a long time with a lot of money spent, and we need revenue in this town. And that's why I'm here. So when we get into numbers and whatnot, my goal isn't this of numbers and whatnot. It's to get this to move forward with what we even got going in now. I'm not going to speak about it, but we need to get this to be productive now. It's been a long time. And it's you know, and I want to say this because people will say, who the hell is this guy? Who am I? And I'm not the person, because Mike and I would leave here. We get along fine. I like Mike. But politically, or where the town should go, we're like oil and water. But my thing is, with what we're faced right now, we need to get this generating money. And not just for the sake of money, because there's a lot of things we can do quality, which I think we can with what's on our table. But that's the goal. And the process and whatnot, I'm not a process guy. I'm a guy that gets things done and get them done right. And we need to move on stuff now. It's been way too long. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not even saying anything, but it's been 23 years. That's my point. All right? And then that's where I'm going with, I'm not worried about, and we shouldn't get caught up in the minutia of process. We should be going, let's get something done and move it through, because the planning board's going to go through things. Building inspectors, there's so many regulations that is going to protect Rutland, but the taxpayers are getting it right on the nose. We've already spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. And my point is, with all these ideas, we need to move on stuff. And that's why I'm here now, because I see this village center, and I see, people always ask, all these architects, engineers that we had on our side, why are they doing the sign bylaw? And I'd always say, because you can control, just like the design review board. But that, and I want, like Michelle and Tim, they don't know the history of me and Mike and Doug Briggs and a lot of other people at the direction of the town. And I stated way back that this would never fly.
All right, Franz, look, I said earlier that, speak and say your piece.
Fine, I'm all done,
mean,
but people don't know the history and should know the history of this, because this isn't just a few years that's been this going on.
All I'm saying to you is, we're talking about board membership, selectmen meeting, reorganization discussion. And I don't mean this.
No, I'm all done with, but like Michelle or Tim were probably saying, because they've been involved in the town, but I've been purposely away from it. I didn't want anything more to do with it.
What I want to say to you is, what you're saying is valuable and important for us to hear, but I don't think this is the forum. Let's do it.
No, but we're talking about the process in 7 or 5 or 6 or whatever, but I'm saying that's important, but we need to get down to solving things immediately.
Yes, Michelle.
And I guess I have a concern about that, Franz, because so you kind of, you have an issue with Mike and you have an issue with Doug. And I've had my issues with Mike and Doug over the years, believe me. But I guess part of the concern that I have is Doug actually was already on the board and said he wanted to remain on the board. And our committee knew that, and Mike had put his name forward for reappointment. And I guess the question for the select board would be, you guys didn't even, usually people will send something to the board.
Excuse me, Michelle. Can I just what we're talking about here is not whether Doug Briggs should be on the board or not. Well, all I'm asking is, do we
Numbers.
agree to go to the selectmen and ask them to make our board an odd number? We'll worry about who gets.
I agree with that.
Definitely not.
I agree with that.
All right, good.
So-
I make a motion that we're going to executive session.
No, well,
No, we
no.
No, we gotta get this.
Hang on,
thing
hang
done.
on. I'd like a motion that we go to the select board and ask them to make our committee 7 members.
I'll make a motion
I
on
think
that.
we already
Second.
agreed to that. Board membership.
May I just a question with that? And I'm not, this isn't a long thing, but isn't it the select board's,
It's their purview to do it,
We're
but
good to do it, but we can ask them to.
correct.
that was my question.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Did you make the motion?
Yes, I made a motion.
Second.
Tim seconded.
Okay.
Roll call vote.
Steiner, aye.
Susie, aye.
Van Reed, yes.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, thank you. So is everybody clear what the intent is when we go to the select board in regards to?
Yes.
Okay, fine. And Franz, again, I don't want to stifle you because
No,
I told you when we started that. this is-
Again, to other people, you and I go way back.
Yeah, that's fine. But,
And,
you know,
like I say before, as far as political and I say political, meaning the direction or where things should go, we haven't agreed that much at all, but just fine, you know. That's all.
Disagreement isn't bad.
See the eraser on the pencil? That's why they put them there. But, you know, the discussion you want to have, I'm happy to have. Let's set a meeting and we'll make it the primary discussion. You can give us all the things you're unhappy with. We can tell you all the things.
There's nothing that's
No,
new.
no,
It's just the length of time. No,
But
we
we
just,
can tell you all the things that we have accomplished that people don't acknowledge, and we'll take it from there. All right? All right, thank you.
Moving on.
Mike, can I just, what was the motion that passed?
What was that?
Can you just repeat? I'm sorry, I missed the motion that passed. I just want to know what the motion was that passed.
To ask the select board to appoint a 7th member to our committee.
no, excuse me, you said odd number.
No, I said a
You said
7th member.
seventh member.
I know 7.
My motion was, Tamika, am I correct? My motion.
No, if I made the motion was to make the board an odd number.
Thank you, Tamika.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, you did, well, all right.
Well, there's really only one choice then.
Look-
Add one or take one away.
All right, Mike, are you still there?
I am.
How do we rescind what we just did because that was not my intention at all to make it an odd number. It was to ask the board to make it 7 members. So how do we get rid of the vote we just took?
You can amend it.
Exactly. You just have to move to, well, actually, because that vote already took, did the vote already take place?
Yes.
Yes, the vote already passed.
Okay. So what you'd have to do, you have to have a motion to rescind that vote and then remake a motion and go
Okay,
from there.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
So can I have a motion to rescind that vote?
I'll make a motion to rescind that vote.
Second that.
All in favor?
We're gonna make a motion to make it a 7.
And then we're gonna go back and make it 7. Roll call.
Steiner, aye.
Susie, aye.
Van Reed, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, unanimous to rescind that vote. Now, a motion to ask the select board to make our committee 7 members.
I'll make a motion to ask the select board to make our committee 7 members.
That's Van Reed, Tamika. Is there a second?
Second.
Williams seconded. Roll call.
Steiner, aye.
Susie, aye.
Van Reed, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Unanimous, Tamika?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. And the last item on that is the reorganization. Yes,
Mike, this is Doug Briggs.
yes.
I guess since Franz had the opportunity to use my name, first of all, Franz, I didn't realize that we were at such odds with each other, and I didn't have any idea how you knew my political views, but I want to make sure that you understand it has not been 30 years or 40 years or even 20 years that we didn't get the property handed over to us until the mid 2015 era. So it hasn't been a 20-year or even a 10-year process because we had the problem getting the legislation to pass the opportunity to turn it over to the town. So it hasn't been that long a process, as you described.
I don't recall the exact date, but
It's
I didn't think it was
1997.
2015. I thought it was in the late 90s, but, okay, your point. Anything else, Doug?
No, so it's 2015 when we actually got the property.
May I, through the chair?
Sure.
How much did the town spend on that?
567,000 or something like that.
Do we know the interest after paying the loan?
I don't know it.
Okay. Doug, do you know?
I do not.
Okay. And how long, can I?
No, do you know the interest?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm asking because of asking. How long when you started or the town started the master plan and the talking of Rutland Heights?
Oh, that you are correct. It's 20 some odd years, but we couldn't get the legislation to act.
That was my point.
That's not the, that's
No,
not.
the point is the direction of the town and the RBA and we wanted and a lot of the people wanted 68 to be developed, not Rutland Heights Hospital. And as far as the opposition, Doug, I mean, you know, there are many times because I remember when you, Louis Canacchioli, and Jimmy Ledger and I came in with a 3-page sign all ready for town vote, and you or Mike and the planning board and yourself had the comprehensive sign plan and the design review board for 22 pages. But my point is, we've always been at odds. It's no good secret.
Yeah, since Lenny's basketball court.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, you've been mad ever since.
No, that's not true. We just disagree on the direction of the town.
All right, guys, we're kind of digressing here. Doug, do you have any other comments?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Kick the thing into gear, come on, you know,
I'd like to get going on,
yeah.
Okay, the last thing I had on item 8 was reorganization discussion. It's my opinion that based on the fact that we're going to go to the committee and ask them to change the board by adding another person, it would be appropriate to hold that until after that meeting so that if the board gets changed to 7, that the entire board will have an opportunity to vote on the reorganization.
I like that. You want that a motion or we'll just say?
Before you do, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I had just to make,
This is Tim.
I'm sorry, to make, it's Tim Norwold. To make, because if I remember right, when new members come on, it's a requirement to reorganize. Would it make sense to basically say we're going to hold the organization, take a vote on holding the organization where we're at now, and when we get back from the select board, then we can reorganize, just to make it legitimate? Because right now, in my mind, it's sort of in flux.
If we don't reorg, we stay the way we are until we do.
All right. I just wanted to make sure make it official of some sort, because nothing's happened.
Mike, I'm correct on that, am I not?
You are correct. Sorry, I had to unmute myself there.
No, that's okay, thank you.
All right, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, Dick, your motion?
First of all, make a motion to continue executive session from August 5th.
Let's get to the reorg. You said you were gonna make a motion to stay.
Putting it off until.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to put off reorganization until our next meeting.
We'll discuss it at our next meeting.
Discuss it, yeah, we'll
Or after the
discuss
selectmen's
it.
meeting.
Well, no, or after the selectmen's meeting. Well, that's,
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. It's.
Did you get that, Tamika?
Second.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Tim, was that you that seconded?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Would you read back the motion, please, just so we're clear?
Yep, the motion, as Dick said, it was to put off the reorganization of the board to the next meeting.
That's what I said.
Okay, so what happens if we come to our next meeting and we're still 6 people?
Make another motion.
So why don't we discuss it at our next meeting? Right? Could you read it one more time?
After reorganization.
Sure.
Oh, God.
A motion to put off reorganization of the board to the next meeting.
Yeah.
May I include reorganization discussion at our next meeting?
I think that makes it better.
That's fine.
I accept that as a second.
Okay.
So Tamika, they just inserted to have a reorganization discussion at our next meeting.
Okay. I got it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry to make it difficult. Franz?
Steiner, aye.
Susie, aye.
Henry, I.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, that concludes our open meeting portion of our meeting. Does anyone else from the public have anything to offer before we disappear into executive session? Okay, hearing none, I guess we'll close our open meeting portion
Motion to close, open meeting session of the RDIC.
at 5:55.
58.
Okay,
To adjourn, and don't we have to say to adjourn?
I think you have to make the motion to adjourn to executive session to only to
Okay.
return to open session for the purposes of closing the meeting.
I would,
that motion was perfect.
Oh, Mike,
I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Hang on, Mike's gonna help us.
So,
Mike, do us a favor, make the motion for us.
so, I don't have the language in front of me, but what you need to do is you need to make a motion to go into executive session for reason number 6, which is, oh, you're testing me here. It's to
No,
discuss
to
the
consider
disposal
the
of
purchase,
property
exchange, lease of value of real property.
only to adjourn only to come back for the purpose of adjournment.
Tamika, did you get that?
Yeah, I have it.
I think it's exactly what you said anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So then you'll adjourn in executive session, but the motion now is not to adjourn, but to go into executive session.
Okay, so who made the motion to go into executive session?
Yes, I sounded like Mike Nicholson, but that was my motion.
Is there a second?
I second, oh, you
Go ahead.
said, no, I know, that's fine.
All right.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Steiner, aye.
Susie, aye.
Henry, I.
Sullivan, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Williams, aye.
Okay, thank you folks for attending.